Hello and welcome to Wednesday. It has been some time since you've had one of these. It's because we took a break and watched a new season of Bob's Burgers for a while. But we finished that, and then we got started on Dragon Ball Z again. And now, without further ado, we have the Dragon Ball Z Season 5 review.
We're only on Season 5?
Yes. We just finished Season 5. There are 9 seasons. We are now further than halfway.
Wow.
With this season, we got further than halfway. So, the first thing we're going to do is have Mal tell you what happened.
Where does it start?
Where Season 4 leaves off is Trunks is on the ship, and someone had told Bulma that they found a spaceship, and they fax him a picture in the ship, and he's like, that looks like my spaceship, and that's where Season 4 ends. So, with that information, what happens in Season 5?
Well, they were moving Goku to Master Roshi's. That's why they were on the ship.
Yes.
And so they're like, we need to go find out about this thing. And then they discover, like, the exoskeleton of what later becomes known as Cell.
Yep. And
what else happens?
That's all I remember.
Goku's, like, still sick for a long, long time.
Yeah. There's something else that happens, like, right at the beginning of the season that's pretty major. Piccolo gets mad and flies off. And
and he goes to see Kami, and he's like, the only way to do this is if we,
Yeah, that was actually,
unite.
And that's before they even know Cell exists.
Yeah.
He's like, we're gonna kill the androids, but you gotta help me. And then they learn about Cell.
And then Kami's like, okay.
I guess. And then they fuse. And then, I gotta admit, this is probably one of the most convoluted seasons.
Oh, it is.
In the show. Like, it's really weird because most of it takes place in one place. But, so yeah, they find Cell, but they're like, we don't know anything about this guy. And then they start hearing news reports about Gingertown, and everyone's like gone in Gingertown.
Just their clothes are like.
Yeah, there's been a rapture, but only in Gingertown. What happens after that?
They go to Gingertown.
Correct.
And Piccolo gets stuck by Cell in the arm.
Yes.
And then his arm gets, like, pulled off, and he's like, oh, but wait, I can regenerate.
Yeah. He actually uses that time to interrogate Cell.
Yeah, and figure out what's going on.
He's like, oh, I guess I'll let you eat me, but might as well tell me what's going on. And Cell's like, okay. So he spills the beans and everything, and then Piccolo's like, haha, just kidding. And that's when Cell realizes he can't beat him.
What are the androids doing that whole time?
They're, like, driving.
Is that all they're doing?
They spent 2 seasons driving a car.
That's right.
Seriously, that's all the androids ever do. At the very beginning, there's a fight, and they, like, hurt everybody, and they're like, we're really strong. Where's Goku? And they're like, you'll never find him. They're like, we're just gonna steal a car and drive real slow for 2 seasons.
Looking for clothes, because they're looking for clothes for 18.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. But yes, they do all of that stuff.
That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. And they go and they're still on the hunt for Goku. So
at some point, Trunks and Krillin go to Zero's lab and destroy Cell, who had been
from a different
future, came back, and they were like, well, we destroy him now, he won't show up in our future too.
Yeah, the reason Cell shows up in the first place is because in his future...
In Trunks' future.
In Trunks' future, which is where he was from, he was like, the androids...
Trunks figured out a way to shut down the androids.
Yeah, the androids were gone, and also there were, like, no people for him to, like, absorb, so it was, like, really difficult. So he's like, well, I guess
he decided he would steal a time machine, come back to the time when the androids are still there, and then, because he wants to absorb the androids, that's his thing.
Yes, that is his thing. It's the only thing he lives for.
Yeah.
So yeah, he comes back, he does that. God, it's so hard to keep the timeline in order, though.
They figure out that there's, like, directions to build, like, the shut down the android button.
Oh, Bulma,
And Bulma gets those and try and, like, reverse engineers it or whatever she does.
So she makes a special button that works within 30 feet of androids that shuts them down.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And then Cell shows up, or androids show up, and who shows up?
to try and quickly put it into
A timeline?
a correct timeline as best I can. They meet in Perfect Cell, and then Vegeta and some other people show up, and Piccolo, because Vegeta finds Piccolo because Piccolo's real strong.
Yeah.
And Imperfect Cell knows that he can't beat Piccolo. Piccolo is stronger than Imperfect Cell. So then Vegeta's like, "What? You're strong. I'm mad." And he flies away, as he always does. Everybody leaves, right? During all this time, Goku is well. So, like, Goku gets all fixed up, and then he goes and tells his buddies, like, "Hey, we can't beat Cell, but we can go to the hyperbolic time chamber where a day is a year."
And train.
Or a year is a day, and train. So then him and Gohan go get Vegeta and Trunks, and they're like, "Let's go." And Vegeta and Trunks is like, "I'll do it if we go first." They go first, and then they all sit up there and do nothing. Then, in the meantime, Android 17 shows up at Kame House, and is like, "Where's Goku?" And Piccolo's like, "He's not here, but you can fight me." And then they fight. Right?
Oh yeah, and Yamcha and
Tien?
Tien are there.
Yeah, they are.
And they don't do much.
No, I think their usefulness in the series is pretty much at an end.
But they go off, Piccolo and Android, and they're like, "We're gonna fight over here."
Yeah.
Because Piccolo's the only one that cares, but Android's like, "Okay, whatever."
And Android 16 is there, and he is the only android that has like a power sensor indicator for some reason, and he's like, "Piccolo is a lot stronger, you can't beat him, 17. And 17's like, "Shut up, you're dumb, you're broken." So then
They fight,
and 17's like, "Oh god, you are strong, crap." But because they're fighting,
Cell shows up because he can sense the power.
he can sense Piccolo's power, so then Cell shows up, and he's like, "Oh good, lunch." And then, and then Cell...
then instead of doing like the injecting way he was like
suddenly
absorbing people, it's
it becomes a dirt devil for some reason.
17.
Yeah, and eats 17.
And then he gets slightly stronger.
Then it becomes semi-perfect Cell, and then Piccolo can't beat him.
Yeah, and everyone's like, 18, run away, and 18's like...
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute, but 18's dumb. Like there are how many episodes where 12 different people was like, 18, run away, and she's just like... That's her response.
But 15 gets damaged.
16 gets damaged.
There's too many numbers.
There are a lot of numbers.
And Tien does something, and he like distracts Cell, so everyone can get away.
First, Cell like kills Piccolo, or everyone thinks Piccolo's dead, and then
Krillin is there.
Krillin's also there sometimes, and then Tien is like, "I'll keep him busy," so he keeps doing his attack. And then Goku is up in Kami's lookout.
Kami's lookout.
And it's like, "Oh no, he's gonna die." So then he instant transmissions, and saves them, and then leaves. And then in the meantime, like Vegeta and Trunks come out, and they go down, and Semi-Perfect Cell is no match for Vegeta.
Mm-hmm.
And then they play to the whole thing of like, "Vegeta, you know, if I sucked up this other android, I'd be really strong.
And then you might be able to see, you know, how strong you are."
And Vegeta's like, "Oh, I like that a lot."
And then everyone's like, "Vegeta, you're an idiot."
And then he gets the android somehow. It's more convoluted than that. Krillin's got the thing, too.
Yeah, he's looking for the android because she did run away with 16.
Yeah, and he shoots like 1,000,000 islands.
Yeah, and then Krillin has the button that he managed to get sometime from Bulma.
Yeah.
But then he gets there and he's like, "Oh, she's so pretty. I can't do it," and then he destroys it. And then
I could save the human race, but like, she's really pretty.
And then Cell's like, "Android."
Yeah, and we're probably still missing parts. But
we are, because after that, Vegeta gets knocked out, and Trunks is like, "I can do it, but I don't want to make him feel bad because I'm stronger than he is, so I have to wait." And then Vegeta gets knocked out, and then Trunks tries, but he's not strong enough either.
Yeah, but then he powers up, and then he is strong enough, but then Cell's like, "I'm faster than you." And then
I've absorbed 2 androids, I'm way faster.
And then he thinks back to Vegeta and he's like, "Wait, Vegeta was smart because he can go fast. Oh, I'm not more powerful than Dad." That kind of thing. And then at the end, Krillin has left with Vegeta, but then Vegeta like starts to wake up, so he gives them a sensu beam, then they go back. So they're on their way back.
And Goku and Gohan are training in the time chamber.
Gohan becomes a Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
And Goku tells Gohan, like, "We can't just get strong, son. We gotta get fast." And Gohan's like, "Oh." And he gets a haircut. And then the most important thing, and where the season ends, is Trunks and Cell are fighting. Perfect Cell now, because he's got all the androids. And Perfect Cell's like, yo dog, I'm better than you. And Trunks is like, shoot, yeah you are. So he loses his pretty blonde hair.
Really? We just watched this and I'm forgetting already.
And then he's like, well, just kill me, because like, I suck. And Cell's like, alright, I'm gonna kill you. But, before I do, how'd you get so strong? And he's like, well, you know, there's this thing. And he's like, so like, if I gave you like, you know, 10 more days, this arbitrary number, to get strong, do you think you could, you know, get strong? Grr? And Trunks is like, well, I guess, yeah, we could do that. And Cell's like, okay, well, for
Watch
no
the
reason.
news.
Yes, that's a line. He's like, well, stay tuned to your television, Trunks. And Mallory's like, what? Because I'm going to have a tournament. A long time ago on this planet, there was the Tenkaichi Budokai tournament. And Mal's over here, like, losing her mind, like, how is this in the show?
You described it so well when I was, like, freaking out over this, because it's like, what? You were like, the series is, like, going on this path, and then it's like,
yeah, it is. It's like, you keep wondering, like, what's going to happen. Like, oh, who's going to be able to beat Cell?
Yeah, like, who's going to distract him long enough for Goku to come out of the chamber and just be like, you're dead?
Yeah,
because that's how everything else is gone.
I kept wondering, I remembered the Cell games were a thing, but I kept wondering, like, when they happened. And I knew they were probably getting to it soon. But then you keep wondering, like, oh man, what's going to happen? And, like, is Goku and Gohan going to come down and all this stuff? And then what happens is it just takes a random right turn. And Cell's like, I could kill you, but I've decided that I want to test my strength. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 10 days and stay tuned to your television, and then we'll have a tournament.
Get all the fighters you can.
And that's literally it. And then the season ends. So, okay. Thoughts on season 5?
It's so convoluted.
It's extremely convoluted.
This and this and this and this and this and this. Right turn left.
It's really weird because, like, I simultaneously feel like nothing happened and everything happened. Yeah. Is that a good way to describe it? Because, like, in season 5, 12 million things happen. But really, nothing really happens. Like, the androids are gone, okay, and Cell becomes perfect. Otherwise, it all takes place in that island that's right next to Kami House. Although
at some point, it goes from like this tropical island to like the American Southwest, like New Mexico.
There was a point where they're fighting on an island, and then Vegeta, I think it's Vegeta and Cell are like fighting each other, and then there's a shot of them like going over like mountainous terrain, and I'm like, where are they? Like, what happened? But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff happening, but. I don't feel like it was necessarily bad, and I don't even feel like it necessarily went on too long, because like in some of the past seasons there's been like legit filler, and I feel like in each episode something was happening.
I really miss stupid filler. Can't they learn to drive again?
There will be more of that. There is coming some other really dumb stuff.
There was an episode called Saving Throw, and you were like, oh, they're just going to sit down and play D&D. And I was like, please.
Yes, that's what they're going to do. Overall, I liked it, but like, it's so weird. It's almost like I don't have any real opinions. There wasn't anything.
I feel very neutral about this.
Yeah, I do feel very neutral about the season. Like, it's like stuff happened and I was entertained, but it wasn't like previous seasons. Like in the last season, the Android season, like I really liked all the stuff that's going on. There was a lot of interesting stuff, and in this one it's just like, well, Piccolo can beat Imperfect Cell. Oh, Imperfect Cell is powered up. Android 16 can beat Perfect Cell. Oh, now he's semi-perfect. Now Android 16 can't beat it. But Vegeta's here. Vegeta can beat semi-perfect Cell. Now he's Android 18's got him. Oh, now he's Perfect Cell. Now Vegeta can't beat him. But Trunks can beat him. Oh, wait. Now he can't beat him. So it's like, it was basically, the entire season was doot, 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 doot. That was it. Because it was like, oh, he can beat him, but he can't beat him. And also,
and then it jumps off a cliff.
It does. And like, the whole power thing is crazy at this point. Like, there's no real basis for what a power is, because in Dragon Ball, when it first starts, it's like, you know, Goku learns the Kamehameha wave, and he's like doing all this, but it doesn't get like much crazier than that. There's like fighting. And then in Dragon Ball Z, like, they have the Scalars, and they're doing the numerical power levels until they get to like 1,000,000, and they're like, oh, this doesn't make sense anymore.
Forget the numbers.
But even now, like, you know, Cell's the most powerful being in the universe or whatever. But, like, when he powers up, like, it doesn't really look any different than it did on Namek when Goku was powering up for Super Saiyan. Like, there's no scale.
You can't scream anymore.
Yeah, you can't scream any louder. You can't make any more mountains explode. Because they did all that crazy stuff several seasons ago, and now it's like, you know...
We can't show this off.
We're only stronger because we say we're stronger,
yeah.
You know? Like... The Ascended Super Saiyan thing, like, there's no visible difference besides for, like, some of the muscle stuff that happened after. And you have to have the other characters being like, "Well, Dad, you have ascended." Like, thanks for informing us, because there's no way that we would know. Anyway, that was my like, thoughts on Season 5. I'm looking forward to the Cell games. I'm right now we're watching stuff that I've never seen. Like, I know the events, but I've never seen this stuff. Like, watching all of Season 5, I've never seen that. And if I have, I don't remember it. The last thing I really remember is the androids. I remember some of this arc and some of the next arc, but that's about it. You excited to go into the Cell games?
Yeah.
Keep tuned to the TV, Trunks!
I thought they were gonna be, like, dodgeball or something.
If only.
Like the Olympic Games.
If only. Like... The thing is, this tournament is going to have a different feel because the world is watching and they know that if Cell wins, like, he's going to kill them all. So it's kind of like, root for the good guys, because if we don't, we lose. So it's going to be different. But yeah, anyway, Season 5, which is the Imperfect Cell saga and the Perfect Cell saga together. Talk about it in the comments or anything previous, but nothing past this, if you don't mind. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. And we're going to start Season 6, and we'll be back with another review at some point in the future. Let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?